All right, guys, so now we're going to be jumping into chapter 21, nutrition. We'll start on page 740. Please highlight nutrition is the study of nutrients in the body, nutrients in food, including how the body uses them and their relationship to health. A nutrient is a chemical substance found in food that is needed by the body for survival and well-being. Also highlight that some of the specific benefits derived from good nutrition includes the following: supports good physical and mental well-being, helps to maintain a healthy weight, boosts the functioning of the immune system, delay the effects of aging, lower the risk of certain conditions and diseases, for example, obesity, heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Please continue to highlight that the medical assistant should have a knowledge of the basic nutrition principles and the recommended nutrition therapy for common conditions and diseases. Please highlight on the next paragraph where it says the medical assistant are not qualified to conduct Medical assistants are not qualified to conduct nutritional assessments or recommended nutritional therapy. This is the responsibility of a registered dietitian. Definition of terms. Please highlight and know diet, dietitian, digestion, empty calorie food, enriched food, fortified food, malnutrition, and nutrient density. And if we go on down to the nutrients, nutrients can be categorized into 6 classes according to their chemical structure and the role they play in nourishing the body. The 6 classes of nutrients are carbohydrates, fat, protein, vitamins, minerals, and water, and are described in more detail in this section. Also highlight where it says each of the 6 classes of nutrients play an important role in supporting good nutritional health. Nutrients provide 3 primary functions in the body, such as the following: provides energy for the body, build, repair, and maintain body tissue, assist in the regulation of the body process. If you go on over to the other side on page 741, table 21.1, please highlight each of those. Highlight macronutrients or nutrients needed in relatively large amounts by the body and include carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Macronutrients provide kilocalories to the body. Kilocalorie, kcal, often referred to simply as a calorie, is a measurement unit of energy. The very next paragraph highlights that the body uses carbohydrate as a short-term energy fuel and uses fat as a long-term fuel. Although protein provides a 4 kcal of energy per gram and can be used as an energy source, the body would rather not use protein as an energy source. Highlight that instead the body prefers to use a carbohydrate as an energy source to spare protein for its more important functions of building, maintaining, and repairing body tissues. Please highlight where it says under the macronutrient, the carbohydrate, fat, and protein, and review the functions. If we go on down to the micronutrients are nutrients required in very small amounts for the body, include vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are not broken down by the body and are used in the form in which they are absorbed. If we go on over to page 742 under the carbohydrates in the second paragraph, please highlight that through the process of digestion, carbohydrates are broken down into sugar units and converted into glucose by the body. Glucose is the chief source of energy for the body and preferred source of energy for the central nervous system. Energy is needed to perform all body functions such as breathing, contraction of the heart, blood circulation, digestion, maintenance of the body temperature, and voluntary muscle movement, such as walking, running, and lifting. The body must maintain constant blood glucose to ensure a continuous source of energy for the body. Ingested glucose that is not needed for energy is stored for later and used in the form of glycogen in the muscle and liver tissue. Insulin enables glucose to enter the body cells and be converted to energy. Insulin is also needed for the proper storage of glycogen in muscle and liver tissue. That also needs to be highlighted. If we go down to the classification of carbohydrates, please highlight that carbohydrates are classified into simple and complex carbohydrates. Highlight monosaccharides are included glucose, fructose, fruit sugar, and galactose. Go on down a couple sentences where it says simple carbohydrates provide an immediate source of energy for the body because they can be quickly converted to glucose for use as energy. Simple carbohydrates are found in processed foods and refined sugar such as candy, cake, cookies, pastries, and sweetened beverages, table sugar, syrup, and honey. Such simple carbohydrates are known as empty calorie foods. Complex carbohydrates. Please highlight complex carbohydrates are known as polysaccharides, are made up of many sugar units strung together in a long chain. We're going to go on over to page 743 under soluble fiber. Highlight where it says makes an individual feel full longer, which assists in weight control. Soluble fiber also functions to lower blood cholesterol, which helps to protect against heart disease. Good source of soluble fiber include oatmeal, oat bran, barley, some fruits, apples, pears, oranges, broccoli, and legumes. Fat. If we go on the other side of page 743, please highlight. It would be considered the third paragraph where it says, in addition to providing energy for the body, these functions include transporting fat-soluble vitamins, providing essential fatty acids for the body, assisting in transmission of the nerve impulses, and insulating and cushioning the body. And in the very last sentence, also highlight that according to the AMDR, no more than 20 to 35% of an individual's total daily caloric intake should come from fat. On page 744, please highlight saturated fat is a type of fat that is a solid at room temperature and comes primarily from animal sources. It can be found in high amounts in fatty animal products such as bacon, sausage, heavily marbled beef, and pork, and the skin of poultry. Whole fat milk products such as cheese, butter, heavy cream, cream cheese, and ice cream are also high in saturated fat. If we go down to unsaturated fat is a type of fat that is liquid at room temperature and comes primarily from plant sources. On the other side, please highlight that the monosaturated fat is considered to be the most protective against heart disease. Also become familiar with trans fat. Highlight that because of this, trans fat is used to preserve food items and increase their shelf life. Trans fat also gives food a more desirable taste and texture. Because trans fat is a saturated fat, it raises the total blood cholesterol level, which increases the risk of heart disease. For the cholesterol, make sure that you highlight that it is an important component of cell membranes and is used in production of hormones and bile. Most of the cholesterol circulated in the blood is manufactured by the liver. Cholesterol is found only in animal products. Make sure that's highlighted. Also highlight where it says a high blood cholesterol level may cause fatty deposits or plaque to build upon the walls of the arteries, a condition known as atherosclerosis. For the triglycerides, highlight that triglycerides are a chemical form in which most fat exists in food. If we go on over to page 745, highlight, it's going to be the start of the third paragraph. Conditions that result in elevated blood triglyceride levels include obesity, type 2 diabetes, a physically inactive lifestyle, excessive alcohol consumption, smoking, hypothyroidism, kidney disease, and liver disease. For the protein, highlight that protein with a special force that enables it to build, maintain, and repair body tissue. For the third paragraph, please highlight that rich food sources of protein include meat, fish, poultry, milk, cheese, eggs, legumes, soybeans, and nuts. Now we are going to go on over to page 746 for the amino acids. Please highlight that the dietary protein consumed by an individual is broken down into amino acids through the process of digestion. For the essential amino acids, please highlight that they are required by the body. We're going to go over to where it says classification of protein. A complete protein is a protein that contains all the essential amino acids needed for the body. That needs to be highlighted. You also need to highlight for vitamins. A vitamin is an organic compound that is required in small amounts by the body for normal growth and development. If we go over to the water-soluble vitamins, please highlight that the second paragraph, the overall function of the B vitamins is to regulate metabolism, facilitate nervous system functions, and maintain healthy skin. Many of the B vitamin functions are coenzymes in energy metabolism. This means they assist in important enzymes in converting food into fuel or energy for the body. Rich food sources of many of the B vitamins include whole grains, legumes, dark green leafy vegetables, pork, beef, and liver. For fat-soluble items dissolve in fat. The body can store them, and because of this, they do not need to be consumed as often as water-soluble vitamins. The fat-soluble items include A, D, E, and K. Make sure that is highlighted. If we go on over to page 748 in table 21.3 and 21.4, please highlight vitamin B1, vitamin B9, vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin K, and also highlight the function and the dietary disease and conditions for both of those. Then we're going to go on over to page 750, highlight calcium in table 21.5 and the function. And then we're going to start with the water. Highlight where it says water makes up approximately 60 to 65% of adults' total body weight. The very next paragraph, highlight where it says water allows for transport of substances in and out of our cells and in basis of many chemical reactions in the body. In addition, water provides a solvent for ridding the body of waste products in the form of urine. Water also cushions the shock to the bones and joints and cools the body's internal temperature through perspiration. If we go on to the other side of page 750, please highlight where it says water is lost from the body primarily through urine, but it can also be lost through other means, including perspiration, breathing, and the feces. If we go on over to page 751, please highlight the MVM supplement and where it says individuals consuming less than 1,200 calories per day, and also highlight individuals with conditions or diseases that interfere with the absorption of vitamins and minerals. Certain diseases such as Crohn's disease, celiac disease, chronic liver disease, cystic fibrosis, and chronic pancreatitis may interfere with the proper absorption of vitamins and minerals from food. Also highlight on page 742 the individuals who are pregnant and the elderly individuals. If we go on over to the tools for healthy nutrition, please highlight the protein. 1/4 of the plate should be made up of the protein group. And if we go on over to page 743 under the food labels, food labeling is required by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, for most packaged foods such as bread, cereals, canned and frozen foods, snacks, dessert, and beverages. That needs to be highlighted. If we go on over to page 755 under number 4, nutrients that should be limited, these nutrients include total fat, including saturated fat and trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. That needs to be highlighted. If we go on over to page 756, the ingredient list, please highlight that ingredients are listed in descending order of weight from highest to lowest. On the other side of page 756, please highlight in the second paragraph, trans fat appears in the ingredients listed as hydrogenated vegetable oil, partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, and shortening. And then I also want you in figure 21.12, please highlight the terms for added sugar, which includes corn syrup, honey, and molasses. That needs to be highlighted. For page 758 for the nutritional therapy is the application of the science of nutrition to promote optimal health and treat illness. Now we're going to go on over to page 760. Please highlight the right above treatment of obesity where it says that there is an increased risk of developing certain diseases associated with overweight and obesity such as hypertension, coronary artery disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, respiratory problems, and osteoarthritis. Treatment of obesity, highlight that obesity is considered a chronic condition that requires a multiple treatment approach consisting of the following 3 components: nutrition therapy, physical exercise program, and behavioral modification plan. If we go on over to the other side on page 760, in the second paragraph, please highlight where it says this is accomplished by a moderate reduction in the total number of calories consumed to create what is known as a calorie deficit. You also need to highlight in the next paragraph where it says 1 pound of body fat is equal to 3,500 kilocalories. In the very last paragraph above physical exercise programs, please highlight where it says fad diets should be avoided because they can be harmful to health and do not typically result in good long-term results. If we're looking under physical exercise program, the second paragraph, please highlight that the AHA recommends that healthy adults spend at least 150 minutes per week in a moderate intensity physical exercise. For page 761, please highlight under table 21.9 the saturated fat, dietary fiber, and the cholesterol, and also the same things for the daily recommended intake. For cardiovascular disease, on page 761, please highlight under arteriosclerosis of the coronary arteries is a condition in which fibrous plaques of fatty deposits and cholesterol build up on the inner walls of the coronary arteries. This causes narrowing and partial blockage of the lumen of the arteries, along with the hardening of the arterial wall, leading to coronary artery disease, CAD. That needs to be highlighted. If we go on over to dietary cholesterol on page 761, the very last sentence, please highlight egg yolks, dairy products, and organ meats, such as the liver and kidneys, are especially high in cholesterol. Now on to page 762. Please highlight in the second paragraph under hypertension that this damage can result in a heart attack or heart failure, stroke, kidney damage, or damaged vision. For the nutrition therapy eating plan, hypertension can be prevented and controlled by the following dietary approaches to stop hypertension. Eating plan. That needs to be highlighted. On page 763 in box 21.3, please highlight the second and third along with the seventh bullet points. Highlight on type 1 diabetes. It's caused by an autoimmune defect that destroys the insulin-producing cells or beta cells of the pancreas. As a result, the body can no longer produce insulin, and therefore it must be administered by injection. Highlight on the nutrition therapy for type 1 diabetes focuses on maintaining good control of blood glucose level. You do need to become familiar with the exchange list system. And if we go on over to the other side on page 763 under type 2 diabetes, please highlight that the biggest risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes is excess body weight. And then if we continue on over to page 764, please highlight where it says individuals with type 2 diabetes may not produce enough insulin, or they may have a condition known as insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a condition in which the body produces insulin but does not use it effectively. On page 765 under lactose intolerance is not a food allergy but rather a condition in which the body is unable to fully digest lactose. You also need to highlight that the common signs and symptoms of lactose intolerance include the following: abdominal bloating and cramping, flatulence, diarrhea, or I'm going to say barbolgamy, gurgling or rumbling sounds in the abdomen, and nausea. For the nutrition therapy, please highlight that lactose-free dairy products and substituting rice milk, soy milk, and soy cheese for milk and milk products. Cultured milk products such as yogurt contain bacteria that produce the enzyme for breaking down lactose. A lactose intolerant individual can usually consume these products without triggering symptoms. For page 766, you need to highlight gluten intolerance. Gluten consists of a protein found in a certain grain such as wheat, rye, barley, and triticale, a cross between wheat and rye. For the celiac disease, please highlight that the indigestion of gluten irritates the small intestine, which causes damage to the villi. For the food allergies on page 766, please highlight that common food allergies include milk, eggs, wheat, fish, and shellfish, peanuts, soybeans, and tree nuts. And on page 767, Please highlight in that second paragraph above nutrition therapy where it says common symptoms include skin rash, hives, and swelling. In addition to swelling and itching of the face, tongue, ears, eyelids, and lips may occur. Under the nutrition therapy for the elimination diet, please highlight where it says elimination diet is also necessary when an individual has a severe allergy to food, for example, peanuts. For the rotation diet, please highlight that a rotation diet uses a rotation schedule, limits the number of times a food is ingested. It typically leads to a gradual desensitization to the food allergen, which lowers the allergic response to that food. For the medication and supplements, in the second paragraph, please highlight where it says the digestive enzymes help break down the food into smaller, less allergic molecules. And then again, as always, make sure that you're reading the full chapter, and I'm just giving you the highlights that you are going to need to know.